I've been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting. Like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? And then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee and maybe you do it in one lump sum or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I don't wanna be a member of this gym for 40 years, so you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels and we're like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay. All right, well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot. Call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then what they'll do is they'll call us and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then Then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and I called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so they end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it clickable. You know what I mean? Gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's like, wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? That's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? He's like, let's get right to it, But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they've come up with tiers. They've come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now. And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we cover the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. It's like I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're gonna lie, I gotta lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're gonna lie, then I gotta lie, You're gonna lie about the degree you have. I gotta lie about having a job. I just gotta make sure that we fit each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing, because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is, and that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks, and check fraud was this big thing because people con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once, because you could pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's like, no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. And so then you get all this talking. You get all this genuine quality time together, right? And I like this person. And so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But But still, you see these people. You see these people on the show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way, and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods, and they chat, and they chat, and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like. You know, sometimes you're watching the show and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like they're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you got to understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone and you really got to know them and you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life. And they pick one of those people, so you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice, or at least the illusion of choice. Because we're like, no, I could get anybody. That's what you think, because then you match with them and you're like, damn, okay. You know? And it's tough because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe, or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number and for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. You know? But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly. And I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like they used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, you know, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? This is where I lose you. Okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole survey studies. They've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying like you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life. Let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are by and large better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that like usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that like we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our preferences. You might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to... You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes, whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season. Just one season. of Love is Blind, I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way, real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right, and the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just, they meet up in the middle, and they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? You know, they propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if his love is blind. So tomorrow we tape the set that's like the sort of New York set. So I'm doing obviously jokes I've been doing on the road and stuff, but a little bit more stuff that's like Brooklyn centric and everything. I remember early on when I was living here, I got to do a showcase and then I got to open for somebody at the Bell House. So we sold out both shows, which is like, I know it's not crazy for like any successful comedian is like, okay, you sold some tickets, so what? But just for me, it's like this whole week of like, we sold out Talia Hall in Chicago, and that's where I started, and then that's the most tickets I've ever sold. I don't know, I'm just like really excited about that, because I think that as much as you don't want to get caught up in any sort of like money, fame, whatever, it's just proof that what I'm doing people are resonating with, and so that feels really special. So tomorrow we're doing 2 shows at the Bell House, and I don't know, I'm like a kid, man. I'm really excited, and it's because I've lived in New York so long, I feel like I'm doing it now for like my friends, and yeah, I just get to show what I've been working on in a way that still feels like pretty personal, you know.
Wow. I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. This is like, I've been living in Brooklyn for a long time, but I grew up in Louisiana. Nah. This is the thing, when you tell people that you grew up in Louisiana, whether you're at a party or a show, there's always somebody that's like, oh my gosh, I love New Orleans. And then I have to be like, yeah, that's not where I said I was from. Now, don't get me wrong, New Orleans is the best part. It's just the whole state around that city, you know what I mean? New Orleans to Louisiana is if you had the most beautiful blue eye, but your whole face is fucked up. Like, it's... I didn't say I was from a good part. And I was broke while I lived there too. And when you're poor in a place that's already terrible, you're just more aware that you're there. You know, I was very present in my situation. I knew if I moved, it was gonna be on foot, you know? And it's weird because sometimes you'll just be talking about your life. You'll tell someone that you grew up poor, and it starts a weird pissing contest you didn't mean to get into with anybody. You'll be talking about your life. I grew up poor, and they'll be like, oh, you think that's poor? Like, I'm not saying you weren't poor. I'm saying I was also being poor, all right? And they'll be like, I had a favorite flavor of dirt. And it's like, okay, all right. That's sad. That's sad. I'm not saying you weren't being poor over there. I'm just saying I was also poor over there. There's plenty of poverty to go around. I don't know if you've heard. Things are pretty bad for a lot of people. Just to give you an indication of how broke my neighborhood was, when I was little, my neighborhood was so poor that the church closed. If you understand the gravity of that situation, just imagine God being like, I ain't got it, all right? I don't know what to tell you. This is a bad neighborhood. I'm leaving, all right? I'm not dying again. I lived in Louisiana, didn't have any money. I moved to Chicago, was somehow poor. And now, living in New York is the first time in my life where I'm like making money, things are going well, able to take care of myself and my family and stuff like that. But it's crazy because all those years I had no money. And the first year I had any money, they taxed me like I always had money. That's pretty fucked up, isn't it? Like I just got, you can't give me like a leap year or something to make sure this sticks? I did the thing you're supposed to do. I pulled myself up over imaginary bootstraps people are always talking about. And as I'm edging my way up the cliff of poverty, the government is staying at the top like, we would like most of that money, please. Boop. And look, don't get me wrong, I grew up the beneficiary of tax programs. I have no problem paying my fair share of taxes. I just don't like the way that we have to pay taxes. Just tell me what I owe. Like, tell me, send me a bill. Don't make me count. This is their job, and if I do it bad enough, I go to jail. That sounds fucking insane. Because I owe whatever you say I owe, so just tell me what I owe. Because then when you get the number wrong, you get a letter from the IRS the next year where they're like, hey, you were actually off by like $2,000. So you know! How do you know how off I was unless you knew the number the whole time? This is a setup. We just don't do anything else like that when it comes to money, you know? Like you never go out to eat on a date and you sit down and you look at the menu, but there's no prices. But you order, you eat, you enjoy yourself. But then at the end of the meal, the server doesn't just walk up to you like, so, how much do you think it costs? Don't worry, I'll wait. Oh, and by the way, if you guess wrong, there is an officer waiting outside. Like it's insanity. It's just crazy in a country like this, right? In a country with this much of a wealth gap, this much of a general income gap, where your financial well-being is left completely up to you with very little financial education to go out into the world with. It's crazy in a country like that, we still have game shows. That doesn't feel weird to anybody else that every night hundreds of people are getting on live national television to win life-changing amounts of money, and they lose and they still clap. That's the most Black Mirror shit we do. How is no one cursed on a game show yet? You went from $8,000 to zero. How has no one ever just looked down and been like, fuck? That's how we feel for them. Why aren't they freaking out? Every game show, they ask the contestants what they would do with the money, and the answer is almost always practical. You know, what would you do if you won tonight? And people are like, oh, I got some student loans I'd pay off. Love to pay off the rest of my auntie's house. Yeah. And then they lose. They go from $8,000 to zero, but by the time the camera pans them, they're like, maybe next time. It's like, did they give you drugs before the show started? Why are you so calm right now? Host of a game show is always a millionaire. That doesn't seem to bother anybody. It's never someone with a median income that could be just excited for you if you won because they understand the stakes. It's always like Ellen DeGeneres. And she's leaned over next to you like she's your friend, you know? She's like, oh, wow. What are you gonna do? I mean, $50,000 is a lot of money, you know? I mean, not to me. No, I could buy and sell your children, all right? No, but for you, this is a lot of money, you know? And the audience is on your side. Don't you other poors want him to win? We live in an almost cashless society. You use your card for everything. You might use Apple Pay for the rest. And yet, when people are desperate enough, they'll still rob a convenience store or a bank, just get their hands some quick cash to feel like they have a chance. How has no one robbed a game show yet? If I was on Wheel of Fortune and I was in dire straits and I went from $100,000 to zero, I think I'd just be like, I'm sorry, Pat. I think we're gonna have to keep playing. No, fuck that. That was a bad spin. Let me spin again. That's bullshit. Let me spin again. Let me spin up. Vanna. If you move, I will blow your head off, all right? I can touch the screens myself. You think Howie Mandel is strapped? He's not. Go to Deal or No Deal with a fucking gun and be like, open all of them. How about that? I've been watching my friends date, and it's hard out here, you know. It's tough for people, especially because we're not kind to each other. Like, it's terrifying to be vulnerable when you know people are just ruthless, you know? And the thing I watch happen more than anything else, especially between men and women, is we'll use a stereotype to write the other person off. You know? Like, from men to women, it's crazy. It's like, oh, listen to her, she crazy as hell, crazy ass. And then for women to men, it's creepy. Oh, listen to him, he a creepy ass, creepy as hell. You know? I'm not saying those two things don't exist. I'm just saying the threshold to be those two things is incredibly low. Like, in order for a woman to be crazy, all she has to do is have a feeling, all right? Any feeling. It could be positive. She could be laughing. You're like, nah, it's crazy as hell. I don't like that. I don't want that type of laughter in my life. No, thank you. And all a dude has to do to be creepy is age. That's it. Bro, just be you and 60. Just keep living your life, but be 60. Someone will be like, I can't tell you how many times I've been out with a girlfriend. She's like, look at that creep sitting by himself at the bar. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like he's not bothering anyone. Like, let that dude be 60 somewhere. Because what I don't like about it is that it's almost always covering up a thing. It's a thing you don't want to say. So you say the thing that's a stereotype to get people on your side. You know? Like, is she crazy? Is she really crazy? Or did you just get caught? So it is like half the time you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing, and she caught you, and now in the face of facts and evidence and good points, all you have left is try to make her question reality, you know? That's why dudes be up here like, she believe everything she see with her eyes. She crazy as fuck. Like, I can't deal with this type. I didn't sign up for this. Like, just because she saw me do it, she gonna be like, you did it. This bitch crazy as hell. I can't. Is he creepy? Is he truly creepy? Or is he just ugly? Like, when are we gonna start being honest? I get it, he has a crush on you, and it's sweet, but when he looks at you, his eyes don't go in the same direction, and it's upsetting. But we can't just add a whole personality trait. Did we learn nothing from The Hunchback of Notre Dame? An entire Disney movie dedicated to this exact situation. Quasimodo wasn't creepy, heart of gold, but he was fucked up looking. We can all admit it. And he laid his feelings out for Esmeralda. Esmeralda did her damnedest. She really did. Quasimodo told her how he felt, and Esmeralda was like, ooh. Quasi, look, he a knight. Okay, this might be my only chance to get out the hood, all right? You understand. Which is honestly Esmeralda's loss, you know? It really is, because you know Quasimodo was packing, all right? He had to be. Nobody walks like that doesn't have a hog, all right? That whole movie that it was up here doing this shit, like, nah, he was slinging pipe, okay? And he was strong enough to ring the bell by himself. He would have split Esmeralda in two. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
The name of the tour has like so many different meanings. Like, there's the 15 aspect of like trying to release
15 minutes every week. There was the sort of freshman is like a renewal thing. Like, this is my first year doing stuff the way that I've been doing it. But I still feel like so new. I still feel like a baby sometimes, because then you get around people who are just masterful. Like you see the way that they work and the way that they write, or just their stage presence. So much to learn from everybody, and I feel like I'm still just soaking it all up. Like I don't know. Like I still feel like I'm like everybody's little brother sometimes, because I'm so curious about how everyone thinks and about how they put together what they put together. Watching people be so much more centered than you even know how to be, that's fascinating. And then watching someone take over with their stage presence in a way that's like magic, you know? It's like, I feel like it is like magic sometimes when you look at magicians, and magicians, a lot of them probably know what each other's tricks look like, but every once in a while somebody will create something, and they'll pull something out of nowhere that even makes the magicians go like, damn, that's wild. And I feel like that for jokes sometimes, you know, and that's what I want to create for other comics and other people. It's just like, you think you know where I'm going and you don't, you know, or just the whole overall thing was like an experience.
Y'all have great laughs. I love y'all because y'all are actually laughing. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be surprised how many people pay money to come to a comedy show, buy drinks, and then still don't laugh because they're self-conscious about their laugh. But your laugh is still you expressing joy. We can't be so hard on ourselves that we're like, no, my joy is stupid. I sound like a fucking idiot when I'm happy. I was gonna sit here and stare so I look normal. In the entire time that I've been doing comedy, I've honestly only ever heard one weird laugh. I was doing this show in Amsterdam, and there was a guy, center, dead center. I don't even remember what I said that got him so good. But this dude went to laugh, and I'm not even kidding. There's a perfect impression of his laugh. He went, not only did I stop, the entire audience stopped. And someone sitting behind him actually jumped up and wrapped their arms around, started giving him the Heimlich. Because we were all sure, we're like, that's a dying person. There's no joy in there. I'm not gonna lie, I had a flashback just then. Like that, when you coughed, I was like, there's no way. There's no way he made it to Brooklyn. That's wild.
Logan and I actually met in Chicago. And we did a few shows together before we started really hanging out and everything. And so it's just, yeah, it's important to me to have him there for stuff, because it's someone who I think when you are on the same wavelength as a friend for long enough, you can start to look at each other like that moment, like that moment where something weird happens and then you don't have a person to look at to be like, this is insane, right? It's like Logan is that person for me when it comes to comedy. We have a good way of
of seeing each other, and I feel like we bring out the funniest parts of each other, you know. So that's been great, and we've been doing that for like 3 years now. And so he's also going to be doing the Bell House tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. I slept pretty well. I had that sleep where you fall asleep and then you wake up in a panic, thinking it's been maybe 10 minutes and it was all night, which I think is good sleep, even though you woke up like screaming. Drinking some white tea, it's apparently even better for you than green tea. And I haven't had it in a while, but I need lots of energy tonight because we have 2 shows at the Bell House. We sold them both out. So I just want to make sure it's a good show for everyone. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little, there's a hair in here. Feel free to cut this. I don't want people knowing I drink hairy tea. I mean, it's not a foreign hair. It's not like a hair that's like not from this house, you know? It's recognizable. Now it's and this thing is like $16 or something. So I can't waste this cup. It's dry leaves.
I think I've been freaking out about getting older in a way. Like I feel like it's hard not to compare yourself with anyone else your age and just or anyone in your career and everything, and wonder if you're not aging in like the right way, you know? And I want to age as best as possible because it's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. But there's just so many there's only a few lanes, it seems, as an old man that you can go. There's only a few directions. You could be creepy old man. You could be like an angry old man. You could be a sweet old man. Or you could just have dementia. Like, it's just, these aren't a lot of great options. You know, and I'm scared because I don't know how much you choose. Like, life keeps happening and you keep reacting to it, and every reaction feels rational, but who's to say? You know, I'm scared I'm gonna become like an angry old man because I already hate kids. But not kids at large, not kids as an idea. I got beef with specific children. There's a few of them already that like, ooh, one day, you know what I mean? Like, just, I'll tell you about one of them. I was walking down the street and I was minding my own business, how most of my stories start, right? And then there was this Girl Scout. No, you need to be on my side, all right? I'm gonna tell you what she did, just listen, okay? I was walking down the street and there was this Girl Scout and she over here working her little corner or whatever, like. And she laying it on thick too, like cookies, like all that stuff. And so I'm walking and then I'm trying to just avoid eye contact because she already not at my height level, so I'm just staring straight ahead. And she like, cookies, all that stuff, right? And then she like leaned in just to make eye contact and was like, cookies. And I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you so much, though. You have a wonderful day. I said all that. I didn't need to say all that. I didn't need to say all that at all. I could have just kept walking. I could have acted like something was playing in my AirPod, like something, right? But I said that because I'm like, look, she out here, young woman trying to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to give her an encouraging word, okay? I'm not going to give her any money, but she's going to, you know, get good vibes off me. So I'm walking. I'm like, oh, no, thank you, but you have a great day. And I'm not even past her yet. She's still right here. As I get closer, she goes, it's okay if you're broke. What? What? Who? What do you do next? Do you know what I mean? This is crazy. This is just, and so that I shouldn't have stopped. I should not have stopped. I should have just kept going about my day. But now I'm like level, and I stopped. I was like, excuse me? And she goes, it's okay if you're broke. She said it again. That's the Bronx. Like, that's something specific in a person to say that I'm closer to you now. That's crazy. You're out here by yourself. Where are your parents? You're out here selling cookies on the corner talking shit. That's so insane. And it's like, what do you do next? I can't just be out here yelling at this. I can't just be a grown black man out here on the street yelling at a little girl holding cookies. Fox News would have a fucking field day. If I'm just out here, they get stealing me like, she's holding the cookies like this. New York Post, black man strikes again. That's... No, what do you do? So I hit her with everything that felt like within the parameters of polite conversation to do. I told her, I was like, Santa ain't real, all right? Too fair. No, because she was gonna find out anyway. And with a little girl like this, Santa ain't coming anyway. So like, let me just... I'm like, Tooth Fairy ain't real, Easter Bunny ain't real. And she was like, I know. And you don't have any real money. And I left because what do you do? So I left, but I was like, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna pray. All right? I'm gonna pray against this little girl. Lord, just keep it that same size her whole life. Just. It was a while back where I still hadn't got like my money right. And I remember the AirPods came out, Apple AirPods, and I don't know why, but I wanted them. And I don't even know why I think I wanted them because I knew I couldn't afford them. It was just something to have, right? Something to use as a marker to be like, I got it like that now, right? And so I'd saved up a little bit, but I still didn't have enough. And I was getting close, and I decided, no, I'm not gonna spend this on something material. I'm gonna take this money, and I'm gonna spend it on something that could be like a memory, something that I won't lose, something that can't just break, right? And so I took a trip to Mexico. And when I was in Mexico, I saw some knockoff AirPods. And they were cheap. And they weren't just cheap by conversion rate. They were cheap in pesos. They were so cheap, I thought they were a toy, right? But I was like, let's roll the dice and see if these really work, right? If they compare to my phone and everything. And so I bought them, I brought them home, and I opened the box. Now the box was bigger than AirPod box usually is. And then I opened it up, and then the AirPods were like 3 times bigger than AirPods are supposed to be. So first of all, when I put them in, they genuinely hurt. Like these, I don't have the biggest ears, but these were hurt. I had to wrench them in. I had to use leverage to squeeze them into my head. And then, you know how they're supposed to come here? It's like they were hanging low. It's like anybody that could see me could see these weren't real AirPods. They look like 2 wrenches hanging out of my head. And so I remember I turned them on, and I had to press the button because they were so big, they had buttons. All right, so I pressed the button, and it didn't even make a technology sound. It wasn't like, it was like, immediately. And I don't know if this is related, but as soon as I turned them on, my balls hurt. I don't know if that's part of it, but I turned them on, and it was like, immediately. And so I turned them on, and then while I had them on, my mom called me. And I've never used any sort of listening device that could connect to Bluetooth where somebody called you and sounded like they were behind you. I hit the button to answer the call. I was like, ding, ding, and then, because you had ding, ding, and then I hit the ding, ding, and then I was like, hey, Mom, and she's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, oh. And I tried it. I tried it for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, every day, I was like, it's not gonna hurt tomorrow. Kept putting them in my head, kept wrenching them in. It took 3 wrenches to get them in. It was like, doom, 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 and they both be in, and every day for 3 weeks, right? And then finally, I had to hang it up. I was like, you know what? If you want something, you gotta get the real thing, you gotta get the genuine product. And so I went ahead, I put them up, stopped using them, saved up my money, got some real AirPods. But then the real AirPods, they didn't fit in my ear because I had stretched it so much. And my right one snapped back a little bit, but my left one's still loose. Like my ear ussy is not tight at all. It's loose as hell. And so if I even yawn, the left one fall out. The left one is consistently in danger. I only put the right one in on a plane. I can't risk it.
So conveniently, I just happened to have the cue cards from when I did Tonight Show.
Our next guest can be seen at the Helium Comedy Club.
Oh yeah, I was doing the clubs that week. And Josh Johnson, see him at the Helium Comedy Club
In St. Louis, November 2nd and 3rd.
Please welcome the very funny
Josh Johnson!
And then these are the jokes I did.
Guys, I'm Josh Johnson. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great night.
We'll be right back. So we are on our way to the Bell House right now. It's finally happening. We're about to get ready for the show. Yeah, still pretty, I don't know, still pretty, like, nervous in a sense, because I'm a little, this is very unprofessional of me, but I'm a little unsure of exactly what I want to do as far as like, I've got the set, but then joke to joke, I'm like wondering if little middle pieces need to be there and stuff like that. So it's like still just tinkering with it in my head and stuff. And there's nothing that I think is gonna bomb. And I think that is most of what doing comedy is like. Everything that I'm gonna do tonight, I think works. So if it doesn't, that will be news to me. I have this one that I'm really excited to do because it's like, I've done it a couple times before, but it's about someone that I know and how she did ayahuasca for the first time. And yeah.
I've been doing my best to read more, and there's a thing I've been thinking about all year, about how back in the earliest civilizations, if someone wanted to seek a higher self, they always sought some sort of deity. There was a god that them and their tribe worshipped, that made them feel closer to something bigger. And as society progressed and you had slightly more modern civilization, still ancient to us, it splintered a little bit. There was a God, but then there was also spirituality. You could seek a higher self. And then there was also the tribe or the state. There became a thing of, as long as it's not about me, then maybe it can be bigger than me. And then you fast forward to modern times, to today, and it's completely splintered off. Some people, it's still God, some sort of spirituality. Other people, it's a cause. It's something that they feel they can use to make the world a better place, leave it better than they found it. I have a friend who seeks her higher self through drugs. Like mind expanding, mind altering drugs to get a better sense of who she is, whatever that bigger self is supposed to be. And she told me a little while back that she did ayahuasca. And she had always been terrified to do ayahuasca because she wasn't sure of the place that it would take her, and she was ready to see herself in that light. And she told me, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? Good for you. There was something you were scared to do, and you did it. You made it happen, right? And we were talking about it, and she was like, yeah, it's just so serendipitous. I was just at the grocery store, and I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I was at the grocery store near my place. And I was like, you did in Brooklyn? Like, what? I thought you flew to Peru or something. It's like, yeah, I did at the grocery store near my place. I met this guy and we got to talking and we were on the same vibe, and he told me that he had some, and I was like, wait. You know how black people have a reputation for talking during the movie? I was doing that the whole story. Like, she's telling me about a story in the past and I'm still like, bitch, get out the room. Get out the room. It's like, yeah, so when, we were talking, we were on similar wavelength and everything, and so, I went back to his place with him because he said that he had some, and
He'd showed me how to do it, and honestly, as soon as I smoked it, and I was like, what?
I don't know if y'all have ever done ayahuasca. I've never done ayahuasca, but every documentary I've watched about ayahuasca, it's a drink. There's never a pipe involved.
And she was like, yeah, as soon as I smoked it, I could just feel like, I felt so much energy, I could feel like my ancestors rushing through me and everything, and I was like, oh, Bethany. Bethany, you smoked crack. Like, I hate to be the one to tell you. You seem excited about everything that happened. I hate to break to you, but you got me more discerning. This is insane. I could just feel like the ancestors coursing through me. It's like, are you related to Reagan? Like, what are you talking about?
It's chaos.
Comedy was the first way I learned how to like really communicate with people. And so watching other people communicate, even if I'm just watching my friend's show, like I'm gonna watch Logan go up tonight, I'm gonna watch Onika before I go up. I think that you get such a slice of a person and who they are when you watch them do comedy. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Do you get nervous? Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous yet. It might hit me like in a little bit. Like probably when the show is starting, I'll probably get a little nervous.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
I feel like I don't get, once I'm up, everything is fine.
Yeah, once I'm up, it goes away. But it's like it'll start like once like they start pre-show announcements or whatever. Once lights change, then there'll be a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of times, not much, but maybe for something like this, maybe a little bit more.
Once I am up there, though, I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. So it all sort of melts away.
I'm very grateful, though, to a good portion of my family. Family teaches you how to deal with the same type of people that you're going to meet out in the world as them, right? I feel like I deal with crazy people well because my uncle. My uncle is a conspiracy theorist, but he don't believe in any of the popular ones. Everything my uncle say, I've never heard anybody else say in my entire life. I was at my uncle's house one time. I was just chilling with him, right? Sitting there watching TV. Out of nowhere, my uncle turns to me during a commercial, and he goes, "You know them kangaroos is a myth." What do you say to that? What do you say next to something like that? What's the plan now? You know what I mean? And this is my thing with conspiracies, is that if there's money to follow, I can understand how somebody got there, right? I'm not saying it makes it true. I'm not saying it's any less crazy, but money is an incredible motivator. It's one of the most powerful ones that we have as people. So if there's money to follow, I could see how someone arrived at some sort of conclusion, as crazy as it may be. So I asked him, who is making money off of all of us believing in kangaroos? And without missing a beat, he was like, I bet them zoos making a pretty penny. It's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you think there's just a guy? You think there's just a guy in a suit, just a former Olympian jumping as high as he can for 8 hours a day? He's like, you making some good points. I'm like, I'm not in it. I'm asking you questions. I don't agree with your thing. Don't do that. I sat down with this man and watched an 1.5-hour documentary about kangaroos that I didn't need because I'm a believer. And at the end, he just turns to me, he's like, that's a deep fake. I know a deep fake when I see one. I'm like, you're beyond help. I think that's why I'm so freaked out about getting older. It's the way that we treat people who are older. It's who we turn into when we get older. You know? Like I've had the blessing of being around people who are much, much, much older than me. There's a relative I have. He's so old, we don't know how old he is. We just, and now he can't even tell us. He's like, from before. A lot has happened. But we know he's over 90 because he got that 90 face. You know what I'm talking about here? He got that. Everybody in here who knows my 90 know what I'm talking about. They all make the same face. They're always like, huh! Nonstop. No matter where you take them, every all the time. It's like they're surprised they're still alive. Like every night they go to sleep and they wake up, they think it's gonna be heaven and it's regular earth. And they're like, how? I'm so old. And I used to wonder why they made that face, and I think I figured it out. All of us are still living in the world. We're still active participants in the world. Things happen in the world. We react to them in real time. We still affect change in the world. He's not like that. He's been retired for decades. He's been sitting on a couch watching Westerns. He's not in the world. So every once in a while, somebody tells him something that's happening in the world, and he's shocked. And that's what you're seeing is permanent shock face on people in their 90s. Because I'll say something I don't even think is that groundbreaking. You know? I'll just be chilling with him. And he'll be like, they made women's basketball? I'm like, yeah, dude, a long time ago. When are you from? You know? But it's a blessing to have people like that in my life. It actually, you know, I appreciate it for what it is. And I hope I get to live that long. But if I do, then I'm going to have a thing. There's going to be one day where I'm like, huh! It makes me wonder what mine is going to be. You know? Like, it's probably going to be a sex thing. I feel like social stuff, I'm pretty malleable. And things sort of roll off my shoulder. But I think one day, in 2050, I'll be sitting there like, huh! They're sucking elbows now? That's pretty docile. It'll probably be worse than that. Has somebody ever asked you to do something in bed that made you go like, Did the last guy do it? Because like if the last guy did it, I'll do it. But if you just came up with this, I don't feel comfortable, all right? Don't get me wrong, if the last guy did it, I'll do it. I'm not going to be outdone. But if you just came up with this, I need to do some research because I've never heard of that before. You know? I just don't want to do something for someone and then they go out in the world and they're like, Josh loves sucking the elbow. It's like, no, don't do that. Tell them you asked me to, all right? Tell them you had to ask me twice, okay? Because first I said no, then I said, then I did it. I sucked a girl elbow one time, but she asked me to. I didn't get it either. It didn't make sense to me. Sitting there like, is your wiener stimulated? Like, no. Like y'all look like y'all are together, you know? It's just extra skin. That's what's weird. Like y'all might go home later and get a little freaky and everything, and like, look at your elbow and look at his balls. That's the same skin, you know what I mean? That's why I don't like when women are like, ugh, balls are gross. It's like, you got balls too, bitch. Don't do that.
How do you feel the tour has been this year? Because this kind of whole year has been the freshman tour. And we've been a lot of different places, both flying, road trips, a little mix of everything. How's that all, when you look back on it?
When I look back, I feel really good about it because I think that we've both grown, and I also feel like we've made better and better shows. Oh well, now you're ruining it. Don't touch me. terrible.
Sorry, this is actually how we are. I'm sorry if it's bad for this. This is.
I think that we've made better and better shows for people to come to.
I think so.
I think that for the most part, I can't help but be happy with everything. And then it's great to meet people afterwards and hang out with them and talk to them and stuff. I'm always bummed out when there's like too much of a time crunch to do the meet and greet, like if we have to leave or something, or if there's another show right after or something, like that always makes me a little sad because I do like to meet everyone and I don't know, I'm a chatty guy.
Yes. And that's why sometimes with meet and greets, I'm working as security to keep it moving.
Josh, welcome to the stage, please.
Yeah.
I do want to take a second to thank every single one of you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Like, my life really changed this year, and it's because of y'all. You know? Like, this has been, my dream to do this since I was a little kid. And I'm doing it now because of y'all, I think if it wasn't for y'all, I'd just be in a room by myself, which would be pretty jarring, Because to me, comedy is a lot like magic, And if a magician is doing tricks for nobody in the room, he's just a person lying to himself. I'm about to make this disappear. It's in my hand. And it's the same way for comedy. If I was here without you, I'd just be sitting in a room by myself being like, maybe this is a good idea. So I appreciate y'all. And I've had to do a lot of self-reflection this year. Maybe I can make this idea make sense. Okay, there's a person that I think that I am, and a person that I actually am. And I spend all my time trying to make sure that those two people are the same person. Does that make sense? Yes. I don't want to walk around delusional, not really know myself, what I'm like, Best example I can give is, years ago, I was at this 4th of July celebration. It was going to be the biggest one that the county I was in had ever put on. They had spent thousands and thousands of dollars for these like tubed cannons pointing straight up, right? And they set them up all the way down the parking lot, all the way down the beach, almost to the water. And at 8 o'clock, they start firing them off. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen because it took up the entire sky. I still don't know what went wrong. But out of nowhere, 2 rows of the cannons fell over. So now they're shooting at us. And so we scatter, right? And as I'm running, I see this one woman off by herself. As the fireworks are shooting past her, she's just going, oh. And it's like, first of all, what is your plan here, ma'am? Your whole face is still, what is this hand protecting? And then a dude who I have to assume was her husband, because he didn't look like a boyfriend, because he didn't look good. You know what I mean? Like, he just, I don't know, he had those bad knees, like he played football in the 70s or something. He's like, I'm coming, baby. And he made his way over to her. And she's right here, right? And when he runs over and he gets to her, he does this. Like a standing spread eagle to cover his wife from the oncoming fireworks, right? And then a whistler. I don't know if you know which one that is, but it does a tight circle, no color. One of those is coming right at him, all right? And then right when the whistler was to him where you are to me, he went, oh, and then moved out of the way. His wife caught the full shit in the chest. It was exploding on her chest. And I don't know if you watch anime growing up, but it looked like the bitch was powering up. Like she was like, oh! She looked like Goku for 6 seconds. Like, oh! she got so bright, I was like, she dead. There is no way. But that's what I mean. There's a dude he thought he was. And a dude he actually was. Because in his mind, he was the type of dude to take a whistler to the chest for his wife. But in real life, he was a dude willing to find a new wife. Like, thank y'all so much. I'm Josh Johnson. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean it. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for coming out. And there's a lot more to come. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah. No, I'm pretty nervous. I might still botch this entire thing. Like this may be wholly unusable. If anybody sees this, it means I thought maybe I slid into home, or maybe we just spent enough money that it would be insane to not put it up. Do you know what I mean? It would be a waste to just not use any of this, even if I did kind of botch it. I mean, do I sound okay? I think I'm getting a sinus infection. Like, as I'm talking to you, I'm getting, like, drainy. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard about that dude in Wisconsin that faked his death and maybe moved to Europe. If you haven't heard about this, great. Okay, so basically, what we know is that supposedly there was a man who faked his death and might be in Europe right now. And he has a family, right? 3 kids, a wife, and everything. And one thing we usually don't do as men is give a man the credit that we owe him for being the new bottom, like the new lowest common denominator. Like, as men, we need this man. We need him, all right? You know, anytime you mess up as a man, when there's a man near you who has messed up worse, you be like, hey, I could be that guy. You know, next time you forget a birthday or something, be like, baby, look, I'm sorry I messed up, but you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. Some people do that. I love you, and I would never. If I die, it'll be for real. I'm a good man. When I die, it will be of an ulcer or something. You know what I mean? Something where you've really held the pain in, didn't talk to anybody, didn't try to do anything about it. You know, real man stuff. I'm gonna do what men are supposed to do. I'm gonna support this family, not go to therapy, hold it all in. And then one day grab my chest like, and you'll know that maybe we should have left this one argument alone, right? Because I would never fake my death and move to Europe. I've done plenty of things, plenty of dumb things. Sometimes I'm just like having a good day, not really paying attention, and then you come in and you haven't had a good day. So you're telling me all the things that happened in your day that were not good. And instead of listening, I'm just sort of nodding, right? I'm just sort of nodding and being like, Different versions of like tasting something when you're telling me a story. And then you catch on that I'm not listening. So you ask me, what did I just say? And then I say, what did I just say? And you can tell I haven't been listening. And I know I should listen. I know that you're telling me this to vent because you trust me and you want my input on your day, right? I know that I let you down, but you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. I'm not saying it makes me a hero, but it definitely stops me from being a villain. Oh, as men, that's one of our favorite things. When you mess up, but then somebody messed up next to you and it's way worse. You know, it's like when you go out to eat, go out to a nice dinner, you know, you take your lady out and you're having a good time and everything, and then something comes up, maybe it's a little annoying, and maybe you start to like bicker a little bit, you know, just like at the table, in between the server checking on you, just a little bit of like, well, you don't even know, you know that. Oh yeah, you know that good whispering. You know that. You know that in between your teeth. Not here. You know, you got both on edge and everything, so you in between the teeth, and she's over here saying everything, but just at that level of like half miming, half voicing, just like, I'm just trying to keep things together, okay? I'm just trying to keep the whole family together. Server comes up, is like, can I get y'all anything? Oh no, we're fine. It was a good night. How are you doing? How's your night going? And it's tough, you know, because you'll be in the moment just bickering, and then out of nowhere, a couple next to you, the next table over, that haven't been bickering, the couple that you look at like, why can't we be like them? She stands up and she throws wine in his face. And she's like, what do you mean your mistress is pregnant? And now all of a sudden you're like, I'm pretty good, right? Like I'm a pretty good guy. Huh? Can you give me that? I didn't do all that. Like, you got the white wine. You wouldn't have even stained my shirt. Like, I would never put you through that. What those strangers are going through right now. And so it's good. It's good to have a new low as a man. You know I'm telling the truth. You know sooner or later you're going to be in an argument and you're like, fine, all right, I'm no prize. But I'm here, right? Huh? I'm not in Europe, am I? I talk to you when we have a problem. I talk to you like a man. I don't hide my wallet on the shore. Yeah, this guy apparently faked his death and moved to Europe. And like, there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of things to unpack, because let's also not pretend that there's never a reason to fake your death. All right, before we pass full judgment, I'm not saying this dude isn't a piece of shit for doing what he did. I'm saying that like there are reasons in life to fake your death. I'll go over some of them right now. Y'all look like you don't believe me. That's fine. Okay, back in the day when I was in Chicago, I was hanging out with some friends. This is like about 5, 6 of us, right? And one of my friends, we're all in our like early 20s, by the way. One of our friends bought a yo-yo. And like gentlemen, none of us mentioned it. None of us were like, we are out here trying to get the ladies and you brought a yo-yo. You bringing the whole vibe down. And he brought his yo-yo and he was doing all the tricks. You know what I mean? You know, making it sleep and then popping it back up like a superpower. You know what I'm talking about? Those like... Because he had the one that had the like little acrylic with the lights. Yes, it had the lights and the little acrylic sound like it would do the like when it was at the bottom. And if you ever want to hear the sound of women leaving, it's that. And so he's like, and then he was doing around the world, and he was doing all the like walk the dogs and stuff like that. He was really good if you were 15. And so then, you know, he finally does one, and it comes back to shoot up, but it passes his hand and it hits him in the face, right? And he's hurt. Okay, you ever been hurt so bad that you couldn't make noise? It hit him, right? And instead of even screaming, he just was like, oh. It's that hurt where you just have to slap something to like transfer some of the hurt while you're hurting. It didn't hit him and fly. It's in his mouth, by the way. Like it's stuck. We're still looking at it. He didn't move it. It's where his mouth should be. It's just a yo-yo, and he's like. And then he spits out the yo-yo, and a tooth flies out with it. And if he had faked his death, I would get it. If he was like, I need to start over from here, I would understand. Like, I really do get it, how people get to that place where they gotta fake their own death, because this was very hurtful and embarrassing. Or just a guy, I saw this guy online, and he had this weird energy about him, and it happens to dudes sometimes, and he was like that dude at the club that shouldn't be at the club, and I don't mean like he's old or something. I mean, he has an unsettling energy where he's trying to be more fun than anyone knows that he is. You know what I mean? Like, you know that guy that's like, whoa, but it's like no woo is happening. We've all been around that person, like, yeah, and it's like, but it's a barbecue. I don't know why you are trying to bring all this extra. And so that's what he was doing. He was in this club. He's like, yeah, woo, woo, and like, there's not even that many people there, so there's nothing to lay cover. There's not even enough noise for like his energy versus what's actually happening, because people were just kind of casually dancing, and he, yeah. And then there's a woman that is like near the stairs, right? And I don't know what the stairs lead to, maybe the bathroom or something like that, but this woman is near the stairs, and she's like twerking along the wall, and she's like really got it going, like she's very good, right? And then this guy walks up, and he's like, yeah, and he like slaps her ass a couple times, and then starts doing this and everything, and then goes to go down the stairs. But then, right as he goes to go down the stairs, his feet give up. His feet decide that they don't want to be a part of him, right? And so rather than walking down the stairs, this man trips with both his feet. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. This man trips with both his feet and then rides just his knees and shins down the stairs. And when I say rides, I mean, like, have you ever been on a sled? It's like that. It's exactly like that, but without the sled. He's just riding down, Home Alone style, just... And he's screaming, and you can barely hear him scream because the music is loud, but he's screaming so because he's riding his knees and shins down every step. They did not miss a step. Every knee hit every stair, and his shins hit all of the stairs. And so he's like, like a bird, right? Screaming like a bird the entire way down. He hits every step. And for some reason, I don't know why he thought it would help, but he's holding the handrail the whole time. And he's like, And if that guy faked his death, you would get it. You would be like, yeah, you gotta start over. You gotta start, I would say move to a place that doesn't even have music. Like, you gotta do some different things. Move to a plateau. That's the type of, don't even have any elevation where you live, because what if you have to go upstairs again? We don't know if you'll make it down. When I was growing up, I knew a kid who was dating someone for a long time. They started dating young, right? And it was very sweet. And it was in the same, how do you put this? It was in the same way that, like, you hear grandparents tell stories about falling in love, is how he fell in love. Because he said early on, I'm going to marry this girl, right? And he had to have been like 18, something like that. I'm going to marry this girl. He said it early, right? And he did the thing that we look at as like the most romantic thing possible, buys a ring within a year, but doesn't do anything with it. Waits years. I bought the ring when I was 19. We're dating. We're 23. I bought the ring years ago because I was sure. I know, right? And, they have their little fights and stuff like that. They have little spats and stuff. But then one day, he decides, like, yeah, this is it. And he takes her on a trip, right? And they go on a trip that's like kind of the woods. I don't know. They rented a cabin. But they have their little fights on the way and everything. And overall, it's a nice time, They cook, they watch a movie and everything, and he decides he's going to propose to her while they're sitting on the couch when they get done watching one of her favorite movies. They both cooked, but then he had a cupcake. He put the ring in the cupcake, and they were going to share a cupcake, and whenever she got to the middle, that's where the ring would be. He would ask her, right? And he had the whole thing planned out, and he even had his speech planned out per bite, because he was going to take these little bites, and then, bite, ring, right? And so he starts it, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Takes a little bite, passes it to her, and she's like, what? Takes a big bite. To say they're supposed to be sharing takes an inconsiderate bite. Like this, like when you're a couple and you order something and they're like, can I have a little bit of yours? And you're like, sure. And then they slide a whole more than a little off your plate onto their plate. And you're like, you should have said half then. If you want half, say half. Don't say a little bit when you know it's half. Because you like my orders because I know how to order. You over here experiment, trying to have an experience, and then you don't like what you got. Now you want half of what I have, which would normally be fine, but you said a little bit. If you said split, then we good. You say split, then we're splitting. That's what half is, splitting. You said a little bit, and now I don't even know what it tastes like because you didn't pick up, because mine came first and you went ahead and picked off mine, then took half when you got yours. So now I've had at least a seventh of the meal that I ordered that I think is good, but I don't remember how it tastes because it just sort of left my memory so fast. And so she's taking these big bites, so he got to take smaller bites, and he got to turn the cupcake when he passes it back to her to make sure her bites don't interfere with his speech, because now he got to hurry up the speech because the bites are too big. And so now he handing her the thing from the bottom, just bite this part. I'm almost done. And when he hands her what's basically a ring cupped in a little bit of cupcake to try to bite, at the same time that he says, will you marry me, she says, I think we should break up. And so if you want to fake your death, like that's kind of like the opportune moment to be like, oh, yeah, you want to break up, and I wanted to I'll be right back, and then just move to Europe, I suppose. But yeah, so this dude in Wisconsin faked his death, maybe moved to Europe, and the way he did it, this is my thing, okay. So, first of all, he goes on a kayaking trip alone. Right? Which, to be fair, is very much missing activity. You know what I mean? That should actually be in the brochure. Hey, do you want to get away from everything forever? Come kayaking by yourself. This dude goes kayaking by himself, actually texts his wife on like the 11th, and it's like, hey, heading back, whatever, right? But then doesn't head back. On the 12th is when he supposedly would have capsized, or, they think he may have drowned or something like that. They put on this whole search because by the 13th, his family hasn't heard from him. They're concerned, right? So they send out the search, and like a search of volunteers who search acres and search the water. They use sonar. They use all this technology to try to find this dude. And there's actually a dude that works with the organization that does the searching that tells the sheriff, hey, listen, this is weird. Because I'm not saying if I can't find him, he can't be found. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at what I do. And he either not in this water or he went missing somewhere else, because I know what I do. Like, I'm very good at this, and we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing any signs, anything. And then, sure enough, they decide to go ahead and look into a possibility of him maybe going missing somewhere else. They also run his name just to make sure, right? And when they run his name, they find that he went to Canada on the 13th, right? So, not missing, using his name, running his name so they can travel, maybe go to Europe through Canada, right? And this is where it starts to be clear that he does not know how to disappear. This is where it's clear he's watched a lot of TV but has not put in the work, because this is what this bonehead did. Okay, so basically, this man said that his passport was lost, because his passport's at home, right? Because I've disappeared, I'm missing, I might have died, right? But his passport's at home. What he did was he just put in for a new passport so that he'd have a passport to leave behind and to use. The only problem is that when they run your name, it's still you. What kind of dumb spy move is that? That's still your name. That's like getting pulled over and handing the cop a fake ID. You still in the car. Like this. And then his wife goes through his computer and stuff, and they find everything. They basically find where this dude has like looked up how to exchange money into a foreign bank. He's looked up how to travel, how to disappear. And this is my worry. I have the feeling that this dude thought that he covered all his tracks because he put everything in the recycle bin. And then left it there. Like that, I genuinely think that's what happened. I think this dude was just moving files like, and they'll never catch me. I'm a mastermind. It's painful, right? So they find everything, and then his wife gives it to the police and stuff, and the police are like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty dumb, They even find where he took out a life insurance policy for like, I think $375,000, something like that. And this moment was where I had a journey in how I felt about this dude. Because initially when I heard it, I was like, what a terrible person, right? But then when I heard about the life insurance policy, I was like, wait, maybe I'm judging too quickly. Because if this dude is leaving a life insurance policy for his family, maybe he's just trying to make a clean break. Maybe this dude is like, look. I'm not a good father anyway. Let's at least part ways like this. Let me go ahead and get you some money for your trouble, and I'll go and I'll live in Europe and everything. Most dads leave for free. This dude... There's a high likelihood that this dude was like, let me break you off some bread, right? I'm going to start a new life. You could go through college for free. And then I saw what looks like, it doesn't look like he's tried to claim the life insurance policy, which would also be insane. That would be, I don't know much about insurance, and I don't like insurance companies, but that would be hella out of pocket to show up and be like, y'all, I died. I'd like the money from me dying, please. See, the policy says right here, if I die, this is how much whoever gets, and whoever is me and I died. So can you please make the check out to me? And so then I went back and forth. I was like, oh, maybe. No, actually, no, he's just a bad person. Just a bad dude. Faking his death, leaving his wallet, leaving his kayak, leaving his family. And then they find that apparently he's been talking to someone. He didn't just try to leave. Because that's another thing. When I thought he was just trying to leave, I was like, okay. It's not how you handle it. But some people, they have an episode. They're like, I need to get away. I don't know how, But then when I found out like his family found out that he left to be with some lover in Uzbekistan. That's also when my feelings sort of went up and down because I was like, oh, you're not even doing it in some like I can't live this life sort of way. You know what I mean? Like you're not having a midlife crisis in that way. You're just trying to cheat. All right, no, I can't get down with this. But a part of me momentarily did feel bad for him because I was like, wait, you met a woman in Uzbekistan. Oh, he's never been catfished before. This is my thing. I don't know if y'all have seen, you don't have to tell me if you know what I'm talking about. We can all just act innocent. But there are, in this world, illicit sites. Illicit sites where you go to watch people the beast with two backs. And then in these sites are ads for local singles in your area. Or even better, ads for very willing women who would love to marry you in Russia and Uzbekistan. I think my man may have fallen for one of these ads. That or he's been watching too much 90 Day Fiance because I feel like, come on now, how well do you know this person? And so now you faked your death to go to Europe to be with someone who might not even be real. That's wild. You gonna blow up your whole life for some text messages? I mean, really, how good are those texts? You know what I mean? No one found a picture. No one knows what this person looks like. They just know that someone enticed him in some bad English. And now he's headed over there. And I don't know. I feel like you clearly have to be in a bad place to do something like this. You have a family, you know what I mean? You have people that depend on you, and you're about to throw it all away to go to a place I'm sure you can't spell. Because never forget, this man is an American. That's also what you have to keep in mind here. He over here trying to travel as an American, try to get help in English and stuff. People in Romania speaking Romanian. He doesn't understand it. He's like, I just need to get to Uzbekistan. Do you know how to go left in Europe? Now he gets over there. Who knows what life is waiting for him, you know? I'd like to think that this woman in Uzbekistan really does exist. And she's mad as hell right now. She's like, no, we were supposed to go to America. Are you serious? You can't live with me. Because that's what would be, truly wild. If this dude comes back defeated. Just comes back to his family and is like, listen, y'all, look, I know what I did. I'm very sorry. Can you take me back? I've found, a new life here with you. I just want to be back with my family. Because obviously I hope this doesn't happen. But it would be kind of funny if while he's missing this whole time, he comes back home and his wife kills him. That would that'd be crazy. This dude show back up at his doorstep and his wife already got the shotgun and everything. He's like, baby, baby. No, he's like, baby, baby, I don't talk to ghosts. I was reading the news and I saw this Mark Robinson. If y'all don't know who that is, he's a lieutenant governor of North Carolina, and he's running for governor of North Carolina as a GOP candidate, and a bunch of news came out where basically there are these profiles that they found of him from a long time ago being on porn sites saying the craziest stuff you can imagine, right? And this is my thing. First of all, this is a terrifying and dangerous man, and I know that because he leaves comments on the message boards of porn sites. What? A porn site is simple, okay? You get in and you get out. You don't stay to chat. What's wrong with you? You're not here to make friends. You are out of your mind. Why are you just on here being with? That's weird as hell. No one I've ever met has been like, oh, well, I can't wait to log on and talk. That's a real sick man right there. That's crazy. And just so you know, Mark Robinson has been endorsed by Trump. Trump was stumped with him and stuff like that, and he's been at Trump rallies and stuff. And then, Mark Robinson's a very big man. He's huge. He's a large guy. And Trump called Mark Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids, because I don't think he understands how steroids work. They don't just make you bigger in general. They don't balloon you. You gotta work out a little bit. You gotta do something. Mark Robinson is over here being I think, I don't know what opinions he truly holds. I don't, because, politicians lie and they pretend to be who they think you want them to be, but it seems like he's trying to appeal to the most radical version of a conservative, right? And he has his little taglines, and he gets in with phrases. I think that's why Trump likens him to Martin Luther King, because he tries to put on an MLK-esque voice when he speaks and everything, but he says stuff that he sure as base wants to hear. And he said really horrific stuff about gay people, about trans people and everything, and they uncovered all of these things that he had said on the message boards of these porn sites because his username sometimes was his name. Fellas, I understand that sometimes we're in the heat of the moment and you go to one of these illicit sites, and the site asks you questions. Maybe the site, in order to enter, they want an email or something, or as eager as you are, please do not give them your actual information. This goes out to everybody. I don't care what you believe in, who you're voting for. Please do not give a porn site your real name and email address you use for work. I know it's the first email address that comes to mind when you've got other things on the mind, but make up an email address real quick. I know that sometimes that takes a second, because then you got to make a fake Google account. You got to go back. You got to accept the email from the porn site, and then just look. But make it so they don't know it's you every time. It shouldn't be that hard, but apparently it is, because then CNN and the journalists on CNN, I don't remember if they're actually CNN affiliates, but basically the journalists that looked into it found that on lots of porn sites he was using the same username, the same handles, which turn out to be the same usernames and the same handles he used on Twitter and fellas, even if it means coming up with a fake name right now, just come up with something to say in your mind. The fact that he was using his email all the time, but it makes sense, I guess he would use his email because he was using his name and he was commenting and all that, so he probably wanted to get the feedback from what people were saying to what he was saying. Now that I think about it, maybe it was more intentional than dumb. he said insane things. This dude, first of all, on a porn site, no one is looking for feedback, really. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's some. Maybe some crowd-funded, crowd-sourced. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm sure. Look, I haven't been on OnlyFans, but I'm sure with an OnlyFans, there are people that are like, I made this thing. I hope people like it. Let me get some feedback. This is what they like. This is what they don't like. That makes sense, right? But if you're just out in the world watching whatever comes up, and then you're just commenting all the time, you need a friend. This dude said such insane things. Some of them I can't repeat, but a couple of them I will. This dude said, unprovoked, I'm a black Nazi. I don't know where you begin with I'm a black Nazi from a black dude who should have probably left the porn site by now. Like, he said other stuff. He was like, I would rather Hitler in office than the people that are in there now. I'm more confused than angry. I'm not gonna lie. You know, and then he said stuff about how, like, my man, slavery wasn't that bad. I wish they would bring back slavery. I'd buy a couple. Mind you, this is on a porn site. What wires do you have crossed in your head? Does being horny make you angry? What? In what world does that come up? You know, it's very specific. You know, in what world are you on a porn site and then you're like, you know what really needs to be fixed? The Senate. Bruh, what? You know, I do my best. I really do. I do my best to try to understand people, and I don't get this one. This is beyond me. Because even outside of what he said on the sites, it's also some of the things that make him unfit for office are just what he says out in the open. The way that he talks about people who are definitely his constituents. You know? There are gay people in North Carolina. There are trans people in North Carolina. So when he speaks, he's speaking about them and sometimes to them. And he says very sick, hateful things, you know? And just the way that he has this weird, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I try to love everybody, but it's very hard to love a black man that hates being a black man. It is jarring. You don't even know where to start. And the thing that I think maybe he thinks is that his proximity to whiteness and what the white people around him like will be his safety. And it's not going to be the case. Fundamentally, it won't. You know? Because when you say things like slavery wasn't that bad, I wish they would bring back slavery, I'd buy a couple. Who do you think? It's hard to get to the bottom of what this person is thinking, because it's so crazy, you know? It's like, it's one of those things where you look at the state of politics, and it's one thing to lie, and it's one thing to say what you think people want to hear, but it's another thing to be an absolute lunatic and already in office, because he's already lieutenant governor. So governor's not that far of a stretch. And he got to be lieutenant governor saying mostly what he says now, minus the porn stuff. And it's so bad that Donald Trump himself, the dude who would stump with them, this is Martin Luther King on steroids. He doesn't know what steroids are. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Donald Trump's campaign is even telling him, hey, you may need to drop out. If Donald Trump's campaign Donald J. Trump's campaign is telling you to drop out, you should probably leave Earth. The idea that Donald Trump's campaign is like, this guy, ugh. The fact that Trump distanced himself from Mark Robinson, Trump done distanced himself from Nazis. The fact that he was like, oof, this is pretty weird, right? You know? Like Trump didn't denounce the Proud Boys openly. They asked him about the Proud Boys, and he was like, you know, boys will be boys, I guess, or whatever. But you, no. And that's exactly what I mean. Your proximity to whiteness won't save you. You're actually saying and doing some of the same things that the people say and do that Trump didn't distance himself from. But he's getting as far away as he can from your black ass. He's getting so far away from you, you would think he was on steroids. I think a lot about how we think about each other and we treat each other, especially now with like an election on us, you know. Everybody's exhausted. Why do we even do it this way? You know, in like France, they're like 3 months out, they're like, who should we pick? Like we're the only ones that make it a season and a half of TV. Like no one else in the world does this. No one else in the world is like, all right, 2024, let's start talking about 2028. Why do we do it this way? And then you watch people, watch how they react to people, you know? Like I'm having a tougher time than I've ever had with the things that are being said, you know? Everybody expects politicians to lie. Everybody expects politicians to not care about them. I get that, but what's happening right now is like truly insane. You know, J.D. Vance was at a rally, and it's weird. Okay, I've just never seen somebody with less charisma. Like, J.D. Vance makes Ron DeSantis look like Ron White. Like, it's... Because when Ron DeSantis was running, I was like, why he smiling like that? He was just, do you remember his smile? He's right. He's like, it's like it hurt him to talk to people, person to person. Then J.D. Vance got in there and nobody was happy. And J.D. Vance said, you know, they asked him about how he felt about the whole rumor about the dogs and cats things affecting the Haitian community, why they've been zeroing in on Haitians specifically in Springfield for some reason. You know, he's from Ohio and everything like that. And he basically said, like, and you can look this up for yourself if you think I'm being unfair, but he basically said that, you know, this is a Democrat talking point and a point by the media and everything, as if he didn't say it. And then he basically says, you know, everyone loves talking about those Haitians in the community like they came here legally and are doing everything legally, but they were brought in and they were legalized through a process by Kamala Harris that is unconstitutional. So as long as they're here, I'm going to call them illegal aliens. He's talking about the people who did the right thing, by the way. You'll still be illegal. You'll never not be illegal, in my view. That's wild. That you can't do that. You just can't, because the law is supposed to be the law. You're supposed to be the party of law and order. You can't just be like, nuh-uh, that's not. It's not how the law is supposed to work, you know? And look, I think that one of the reasons we get pitted against each other really, really hard is because America makes a promise, and it makes a promise to everybody that they will have it better tomorrow. And a better tomorrow isn't coming for everybody because of systems in place to keep tomorrow like today. So when I see Donald Trump at a rally and he says they're coming from Africa, they're coming from the Middle East, some of them are coming from Asia. These people are coming to our country, they're poisoning the blood of our country, and we have to get them out. I don't just think about people of color. I do think for a second about white people from the past, right? Because white wasn't always this like singular identity. There was a time in America where if you were Irish, you were spit on. Where if you were Italian, you were beat. And everything that Trump says about them is what they said about all those people in the background, right? About their great-grandparents. So they may cheer it on, but recognize if you have Italian descent, if you have Irish descent, if you're Greek, there was a time where you were not welcome here. And they said that your very presence and the presence of your children would destroy the country, would poison the blood. And then we became the most powerful country in the world. So clearly it's a lie. It's so clearly a lie. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as if I'm like, oh, you know, don't even have a program, open borders, just let everybody come in, spill it. The thing that they are painting, sometimes it's not even what's happening in the area. And look, I'm gonna tell you right now that I think that there should be a fair and legal and simple process for becoming a citizen. Do you know what I mean? And I think that having a process is not un-American. Having a process is not cruel, right? But there has to be a process. But then when that process is adhered to, you can't just be like, no, that's unmanageable. You know, that's wild to me. You know, I have friends who, one of my good friends is Italian, first generation Italian, and he's a bit older, and he tells me stories of, well, what it was like for his family, right? And so much of it was based around fear. These Italians are coming over here, and they're gonna ruin everything with their good food. You know? And they were called criminals. There was an assumption that everybody, no matter who you were, in the Italian community was in the mob, and you were dangerous, and people should stay away from you, you know? It's everything. It's every single thing that's happening now. I'm not saying that there's no possibility of having an immigration problem. I'm not saying that it's not something that needs to be addressed. I'm saying the rhetoric that you use when you talk about people is important. No matter what you do when you build policy, you know? Because I would like the people who are hardworking, the people who are honest, the people who genuinely love America to be in America, you know? Because the same things that they do to immigrants now is what they did back in the day, you know? Maybe you were Irish, and maybe an Irish person in your community committed a crime. And now it's a crime on all of you. Not just one of you did it, y'all all did it. Every single one of you, and we're gonna make you feel like you did it. We're gonna put up signs, right? And if you're Irish, you know what those signs said. You know what I mean? So, where did that get us? And where are we now? You know? Because we didn't send those Irish people back. We didn't send those Italian people back. You know, we found a way to make things work, and you build on a process and you improve it. I'm not saying there's not a process that doesn't need to be improved. I really am not. I'm saying that the way that you talk about people is important. Outside of anything else, whether they share some land with you or not. You know, and the same things that are happening now are what happened back then, you know? I'm scared of having a political process that's like that's
untenable.